Hey everyone, welcome back to the Gotham Graffiti Podcast. This is episode 20. Yes, we've done 20 of these now. And for those of you, you may have noticed that we don't have our cool DJ lights going.
Yeah.
We're having some technical difficulties with the lights, but it will be back to normal next week for those of you who actually watch it and not actually just listen to it. So don't worry about that. But
For now, you get to see our hot faces and LED
yes,
lighting.
with that out of the way, my name is Scott. This is my cousin Gunnar. Thank you for joining us here today. We're going to be continuing our series of ranking the DCAU. So we're on picks 8 through 5. So we'll be going in ascending order. Kind of the exact same thing we did last week. So since I opened up, why don't you go ahead and give us your number 8?
My number 8 is Son of Batman.
Son of Batman.
Son of Batman breaks my top 8. For me, this is one of my favorite Deathstroke pieces of media. It's not really a Deathstroke story. I mean, it is kind of in a way because the whole crux of the way everything goes down is Slade's upset with Ra's picking a new heir and kind of exiling him from the League, which I always love. Like, it's not always the case that they write it as Slade being tied with the League of Shadows, but whenever he is, it's like, oh, that's cool. Like, I always like that. So I love that about it. This was also like really early in this slate, and so like they were just putting out like banger after banger after banger, and this was one of those that by no means is, I mean, yeah, it's my top 10. It's nothing insane. I know this was in your bottom bracket.
Well, it was 11.
But yeah, man, I love I think once again, I think in this entire slate, I think some of the best fights out of the entire 16 movies come from Son of Batman and Batman vs. Robin.
I can agree with
You get some of the best fights in those two movies. I also love how at the end it's not Batman having to defeat Slade and save the day. It's like Damian.
Yeah.
And like they make some choices with Damian in that fight, you know, in regards to Slade. The stuff with Talia is great. I also think they really nail the dynamic of like Damian being an annoying little brat. Like, a lot of people didn't like Damian, especially...
I'm one of those people.
I'm one of the people that like Damian as Robin, but, like, especially at that time. Like, at that time, everybody hated Damian Wayne. But that's what's beautiful about the arc of the character, because then if you go watch Apocalypse War...
Right.
Damian has this amazing heartfelt moment with his father. He sacrifices, he makes the unselfish play. Like, it's a... You have to keep up with. You have to have the annoying sucky kid in a couple movies to get that payoff at the end, and this does that wonderfully.
Yeah, Dark Apocalypse is where I kind of came around. I was like, he's still not my favorite Robin by any means, but I still.
You got a few brownie points.
Okay, I can appreciate they were setting it up. It wasn't just I'm an annoying brat, and that was the way he was for the entire, you know, all the movies he was in. But
and then I mean the last thing I'd say is also the first 20 minutes are nuts. That opening 20 minutes of Deathstroke and his militias descending upon the League of Shadows headquarters, and like you see Ra's and Slade fighting, you see Damian and Slade fighting, you see Talia trying to like. What's so cool is like they don't obviously they're assassins, so they don't have they're like old school assassins, traditional, so they don't have guns. So it's cool watching Ra's assassins fight Slade's assassins, but they're having to be more tactile and more accurate with their strikes. There's just a lot I love in that first 20 minutes. So yeah, for all those reasons, my 8th is Son of Batman. So what is your 8th?
So funny enough, if you watched last episode, when you said Justice League Throne of Atlantis was your number 9, that's my number 8.
Oh, okay. So we're not too far off there.
Kind of on the same wavelength there. I mean, he kind of went over it in the last episode. I'll just kind of briefly go over. Like, it's kind of a cool, because a lot of times whenever you have the Justice League, you've got Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and like you'll have like the Flash and Green Lantern. And like it was kind of cool. Yeah. And it was just cool because it was a very different aesthetically. It was a very different movie from a lot of the other Justice League movies we get. Because, you know, all of them aren't underwater. So you get to see like a completely different side. Also, like he said last week, the character of Arthur, like he's just, like that was right around when Aquaman was starting to become cool. And so like you could tell that they were really not like
the bar fight.
Yeah, like and I love Jason Momoa, but like they're not like gonna make him Polynesian with the long hair, but like they definitely went out of the way to make him the grizzled king that he actually is, and that was just really cool to see in that movie. Plus, just the end fight, like seeing Ocean Master and Aquaman fight, and then you had the League fighting against the Atlantean army. Just it was a cool, fun spectacle. It's actually one of the not my favorite Justice League movie because I think a lot of the other Justice League movies are better, but it's just one of those like it's really cool to see Aquaman get the spotlight because he hardly ever does unless people bring up Jason Momoa. And it was just a fun Justice League movie. Like I watched it actually not too long ago.
His suit looks phenomenal.
Oh, it's like 100%.
His suit looks great.
100% comic accurate suit. Like it was. I enjoy that movie a lot. So, but that is my number 8 pick.
Okay. So. Okay. So my 7th is Teen Titans: The Judas Contract. Oh. That is my 7th. So
that is mine as well.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So nice. We both matched, and I went back-to-back Deathstroke. So. I'll go into what I like, and then you can kind of tag off.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the, probably in that middle, I guess what you would call the third phase of this. It was probably my favorite in that third phase. It gets a little goofy at the end with Brother Blood and how he like starts to transform.
I mean, yeah.
It's fun, but it's just where it was like this.
It's very Teen Titans, though.
It is very Teen Titans, which as I appreciate.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, but there's so much about this I love. Other than also, this is my favorite performance of Deathstroke in the entire slate.
Yeah.
Deathstroke. This is the best Deathstroke's been in any animation.
Yeah, seeing he was very much like a stalking predator,
like
taking out
felt,
the Titans.
Yes.
He
got the icons because this is when he gets the icon suit. So he's got the icon suit.
Yeah.
I love that. Also, I feel like in this universe, this is when we really see Nightwing come into his own.
Yes.
We really see Nightwing start to come into his own as a leader. And as a just like trying to be better than Bruce as a man in terms of his relationships.
Right.
What's great about this also is like the side characters don't get pushed aside. Jaime and Blue Beetle gets his little story arc with his family and the Scarab. Beast Boy with Terra. Raven kind of already got hers in Justice League versus Teen Titans. So, but she's still there. There's just also, dude. The fight when Deathstroke breaks into Nightwing's apartment is top 5 for me.
Dislocates his arm and then he has to bang it against
it's so good.
Yeah.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, is this the first... I could totally be wrong here. Is this the first movie we get to see him in the blue suit again? Or like the comic-accurate blue suit?
It might be.
Because I know he starts the movie in red.
Yes.
He starts the movie in red, and I feel like if I remember correctly, by the end, he gets not like the one they gave him in Bad Blood and Batman vs. Robin. Like he got like the massive bird.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
I feel like I've got like promotion art in my head of that, and I think I think I'm correct. But all that to say. Also the Brother Blood stuff is great.
Yeah.
Like Brother Blood feels like this dark cult that is a massive threat, and the way it cultivates is great. So for me, I love Judas Contract. That's why it's my 7th. So.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me, everyone knows that I'm a very big Nightwing fan. So seeing Nightwing leading the Titans, especially considering he's fighting, Deathstroke for a good majority of the movie, that's just like, that's all you really want for a Nightwing story and a Teen Titans story. I'm a huge fan of the 03, Teen Titans cartoon show. So it kind of felt like a more adult, grown-up version of that. Just in movie form, which I can really appreciate. I was also going to touch on Brother Blood is a very menacing, like calculating villain in this movie, and it's a little eerie sometimes. Where you're kind of like, ooh, that feels a little blasphemous, but like he's a bad guy, so it's.
Dude, the part when he's like when he's in his like bath, and the shot is just from like here up, so like you can't tell what's happening. And then when he rises, they do the shot from like it's his back going that way,
all the blood
and it's blood dripping, and you're like, oh, he was bathing in blood. Okay. It's also they got real close with a certain military chant in that movie.
Oh yeah.
For those of you that don't know, and I can say it because when this was coming out, everybody was joking about it. In the trailer, they're like, "Hail, brother blood," and they go, and all his soldiers do that, and everybody was like, "Ooh, that's really close.
Wait,
that's really close."
Well, hey, it adds that much more.
It makes them feel that much worse.
Because Brother Blood, like in the show, the Teen Titans show, like he's a very well-written villain, but he kind of comes off as more as like a cartoonish, like angry bad guy sometimes.
Yeah.
And Brother Blood in this movie is just like a very, like when you talk to him, he hardly ever raises his voice. He's very calm, but like he'll just.
Oh, that's a great point. He's very like he's talking.
I don't think he ever loses it until like obviously he starts losing to the Titans in the very end whenever they defeat him. But like he's just very like, yep, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna kill that guy. I'm gonna take this person's blood. I'm gonna do this to the Titans. You're just like, oh, okay, all right.
Oh, especially the part when they're doing the experiments, and he's like, "Thank you for your sacrifice." And funk
pops a dude in the head.
Oh, it's so good. We need to rewatch that soon. That's a great movie.
I thought we watched that recently.
Maybe we haven't like the last 6 months.
We did, because remember you came home on like a Friday and we were like, we should do a movie night, and then we watched that movie. Do you remember that?
Oh, I do.
It was like 2 months ago.
Yes. It's just so good.
Yeah.
So my sixth is Justice League War.
Okay.
Justice League War. So just outside of the top five. Just outside of the top five. Not because I dislike it, obviously not. It's my sixth movie. I love Justice League War, especially as big of a Darkseid fan as I am. That's like, I mean, we get one of the most iconic superhero memes from that movie of Green Lantern when he goes, back up, Green Lantern's got this. And Darkseid just backhands him. Ow.
Well, and then remember the parademons come over and just start
That's what
beating
they
the
just
crap
start
out
like
of him.
punching him. The best part is when they do that frame shot of all the League members are like, and Flash kind of his brain catches it. He's like, oh wait, and like runs over to stop him. I love this. I thought this was like such a, especially I'm actually going through right now the Justice League New 52 Omnis. I'm on the first one right now, so I'm going through those right now. So this is kind of fresh. I can tell you as someone who's already read through that arc and knowing what the movie's like, they did such a good job of having to keep that to an hour and a half. They did such a good job of containing that, but keeping it what it needed to be. I mean, you can pick out anybody from that movie: Cyborg, Batman, Lantern, Flash. They all have this like Wonder Woman at the beginning. Like they all have this very like human problem going on. Like the part at the end when Green Lantern's like being like whatever, like screw you, and Batman takes his mask off and he's like, my parents were shot and killed in front of me when I was 8 years old. We have to save these people. And he's like,
that like heart to heart.
Yeah.
Because you don't see that with Batman very often. Like him just being like, look, here's the deal. Like, this is what happened to me.
This is what happened to me.
This is why I do what I do. Like he very rarely talks about it.
But that's great. Also the stuff with Desaad is great in it. I love Desaad in that.
Oh yeah.
Darkseid also just like, I also love that for the appearance of Darkseid. Not that I want it as the main appearance, but I love it when Darkseid looks like the Hulk. When Darkseid's just like, and he's not, because normally, not that he's not always massive, but normally it's a much more like sleek, trimmed out. Like he's still jacked, but very sleek and slender.
But yeah, like in this movie, like his fist is like 3 times the size of Superman's face. Like,
oh my gosh, his shoulders are this big.
Yeah.
Like I love the also the fight. The fight at the end.
Yeah.
Is so good. It's so good. So it's one of those. There's not a whole lot to say about it, just because it's very like Justice League Origin. You kind of know what you're getting in it. If you haven't seen it, because it is older, it was the first one that started this. Go watch it. It is great. It's one of those that like, I think it's probably in my top 3 out of the entire slate. That like if I feel like watching a DCAU movie, like just popping one on for fun, I put on War. Yeah. Because I'm just like, yeah, dude, let's watch Justice League War. It's a really fun movie. So okay, so what's your 6th?
My 6th is Justice League versus the Teen Titans.
Okay.
That is my number 6.
All right. Some Teen Titans on your list.
Yeah, we got a lot of Teen Titans. But it's just, I already said it, but I'll say it again. 2003 show is my favorite, right? So seeing like a more grown-up version of Trigon and not just like I'm a, demon, and it's just like seeing like
how
physically powerful he is. Number one, number two, just like how he's able to control the league and like because like that fear of like, oh, Flash is trying to kill me. Oh no, that's not good.
That's not good.
And and at first when I first watched this movie, I was kind of like, how on earth is the Teen Titans supposed to take out the Justice League? And I think the way that they did it, it was just. This was kind of where, not saying like I thought Damian was cool, but like where I was maybe changing my mind a little bit on Damian, because you got to see the mind that he got from Batman being his dad, like the tactical mind of him like trying to figure out how to, one, save the world, and two, trying to get the Justice League back to the good side essentially, and then they all team up and go fight Trigon together. It's just kind of a cool, different aspect that we haven't really seen before.
It was great to see. On your note, that's one of my favorite parts of the movie is when, because I think if I remember correctly, Batman's the last one to get put under, and it's great when they like get out of there and they're all freaking out, and Damian's like, "I'm Batman's son, like I can figure this out. Everybody, calm down."
I also did like the moment where he's like, I think it was Blue Beetle, and he's like, how do you plan on taking out Superman? Do you have like a bunch of kryptonite somewhere? And he just turned and smirks.
Oh, he does the bat smirk.
Yeah, and I was kind of like, I don't like you, but that was kind of funny.
That was cool.
And also the infamous joke of like when Superman finally gets unmind controlled and the Flash is trying to like create a whirlpool around him. He's like, Barry, I'm sorry, and then just jumps on his ankle and snaps it. And then like the demon immediately leaves, and he's like, oh, dude, why'd you do that? He's like, I'm so sorry. That was the only way I could get through to you. And he's like, how long is it going to take you to heal? He's like, maybe an hour. And he's like, you got 5 minutes. Let's go.
Like, you got to figure it out, man. And the best part is Flash is like, okay.
He's like,
I'll figure it out.
It'll be fine. But anyway, that was my number, what are we, 6?
6, yeah.
So what is your top 5 movie?
So last one of this week's episode, we're going to break the top 5. And I love this movie. This is Justice League Dark.
Yeah, I figured it'd be in there.
In my top 5. Your boy loves himself some Justice League Dark.
That's why, dude, whenever I had it lower on the list, I was like, oh, Gunner's not going to like it.
I did not like that take. But, so yeah, if you don't know that about me, I love the spooky stuff in DC. I mean, Spawn's one of my favorite comic book characters. Yeah. So, like, I love Etrigan. I love the Phantom, not that he's in it, but like I love the Phantom Stranger, Spectre, like that avenue of DC Comics is like one of my favorite things, and that's also when like people are like, not that I love both Marvel and DC, I'm not like, whatever, but like when people do argue like what does one have over the other, like that does drive me up a wall when people are like, Marvel has better like spooky characters. I'm like, dude, no, you
got Doctor Strange.
No, they don't. You got Wanda and Doctor Strange. I know you got more than that. I'm being sarcastic, but like, you don't have the lineup that DC has when it comes to this. And I say that as someone who loves Marvel.
Constantine, Swamp Thing, like that.
Zatanna, So, but all that being said, so like when this movie came out, and then you're gonna put Batman in it, like that was just. I remember when that came out. It was funny. He texted me. And he was like, you're going to go buy that the day it comes out, right? And I was like, well, yeah. He goes, I figured. Like, it just was so for what my niche fandom is. I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is great. The movie's great. All the members get a time to shine, whether that being Constantine, Zatanna, Swamp Thing, Etrigan. I love Etrigan. And like the beginning when him and Etrigan are fighting in Vegas and they're over the poker game. And Batman's, like you talked about it last week, the stuff with Batman being just very dry and very, they're like, how are we going to, like, what spell are we going to do? What magic are we, and Batman's like, this is like a binary compound. Yeah. Like, he like figures it out with science, and they're like, oh, okay.
They're like, we can't break the spell. What are we going to do? Here's a bat grenade. Just
Well, one of the best parts is when they're outside of the guy's house and all like the ghouls are circling Batman and they're like, "This one has escaped us for a long time."
Oh yeah.
And Batman kind of feels the presence of it. He can't see it, but he can feel it, and he goes, "Boo!"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh." So there's so much love in this of Batman. It's also so cool to see. It was cool to see Batman in the story and take a back seat. Like, it's cool to get your Batman fix, but like the real heavy hitters of the movie are Constantine, Zatanna, and Swamp Thing. Like, those are really who are leading this charge. It's also aesthetically a lot of fun. There's so many different settings in this and so many different color palettes that you get. The fight with it's not the Grand Wizard. I can't remember his name. But whoever the wizard is, I love that. I love that when they're talking, like they're like they're trying to kill each other. The league's trying to kill him, they're trying to get him information out of him, but he's trying to kill them, and like they're busting each other's chops and like taking low blows about magicians. Like it's a great movie. It's super fun. It's also great because it's not super. Also, how can I forget? Dead Man in this is amazing.
Oh, how can we forget?
Dead Man in this, his comedic relief, the way that they use Dead Man in this is great. It's one of my favorite pieces of Dead Man media is this movie. So yeah, I just love this thing. It's also not super duper connected to all the rest of the movies. Like, it's in the slate, but it is kind of removed. So it's just a fun one to go pop in when you want something different. So yeah, for all those things, that is my number 5.
To kind of give you context, it's like if you put it like in MCU terms, it's almost like this is like a spooky dark version of the Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of.
That's a great. It's like if you made a spooky Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what this movie is.
Essentially. So.
What's your number 5?
My number 5, vanilla pick, and it was actually your number 6, is Justice League War.
Okay, so all right. This round we were kind of on
the same. Yeah. I mean, he kind of went over it, but I very much enjoy like Justice League origin stories and seeing the team come together. Is that vanilla? Yes. But I do enjoy watching it on the screen. We talked about the human moments with Batman. Green Lantern's hilarious unintentionally in this movie.
Dude, we didn't even mention the... I'm assuming it's powered by concentration. Hey, how'd you get that off?
You weren't concentrating.
You weren't concentrating.
But, yeah, it's just like kind of like you said, like there's... Each member of the Justice League, like Cyborg gets a really good part of the movie, you know, with the whole, what am I trying to say?
Mother Box.
The Mother Box, Apocalypse technology, and like that relating to Darkseid. It's done very well in this movie. If you're a fan of what they did in the Snyder Cut, done very well in this movie as well. We kind of covered everything about it, but it is my top 5. It's one of those. It's almost like the first Avengers movie. It's like it's got to be somewhere in the top 5. Like it's just good, enjoyable, fun superhero movie. Watching the team come together. So
one more thing before we close this segment out. One of the biggest nods I can give that movie I just thought of is the fact that Martian Manhunter was that 6th man for years in the Justice League, and they took him out for Cyborg. At the time, I was pissed. I was a massive Martian Manhunter fan. They did it so well. You have to like, if you're watching this, you have to take this in context for the time. Like, how much people were like, "You're doing what?"
Yeah.
Like, you're putting one of the guys from the Teen Titans in the Justice League instead of Martian Manhunter.
Cyborg was a Teen Titan at the time.
But the way that Jeff Johns wrote that story and the way that they storyboarded it into this movie was done so well that as soon as it came out, everybody was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm in. Cyborg's in the Justice League." Yeah. Okay,
it's almost like you forget, like, oh wait, Martian Manhunter wasn't in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. So that's if we can say anything about that movie, that's a massive nod if you know anything about the Martian Manhunter Justice League fandom.
Yes.
So, yep. Yes. But okay, coming off that, we are going to go straight into Read of the Week. Okay, so for this week's Read of the Week, one of my all-time favorite comic book characters. Lobo, Volume 1. Look at that art on the back. Assassin to royalty and scourge of the... Sorry, the light hit that weird. The Cosmos. I can read, I promise.
That was almost like a dyslexic Harold.
Yeah, he's the one with dyslexia, not me. But, hey, this is great, guys. This is Lobo, right? Not much said about this. This run has the iconic Lobo hunting Santa.
Oh.
Which is great. This is just a fun book, guys. This is actually one of my, probably like of my collection, is in my top 3 or 5 is that 9.8 issue 1 of Lobo I've got from the 90s.
Oh,
yeah. That's a massive piece of my collection that I'm really proud of. And so obviously I love this, right? I haven't read it in see, I like to be honest with you guys. I don't want to sugarcoat these. I haven't read this in forever, guys. I haven't read this in forever since I bought it years ago. But it's so good. I do remember how good. I don't remember the details of everything, but I remember how good it is. I mean, this is like also classic 90s. I mean, look at the panels you're getting in this. It's just Lobo being Lobo. Like, this was also prime Lobo. Yeah. Like, this was before the 2000s when like they had to kind of
mellow him out, just
kind of water him down a little bit. This is like Lobo being
hardcore 90s,
hardcore biker, crude. Doesn't care what he says, who he's talking to, who he's got to beat up, what he's got to do. If you're a Deadpool fan, you'll love Lobo. I personally like Lobo more than Deadpool. Hey! Here's a clip for you. Lobo's better than Deadpool.
I'll just make it like a 2-second clip and post that.
But yeah, so obviously that's a personal take. I understand if that's not the popular opinion. I understand. But yeah, guys, I just love this one. I love the art in it. I love it's just one of those it's pretty thick. Like, it's not for a trade. It's not thin by any means. And it's one you can just sit down on an afternoon at night, chill, read. It's not super high stakes. It's just fun.
Put on some Metallica.
Yeah, put on some For Whom the Bell Tolls while you read Lobo. But yeah, especially with the new trades and the new prints they've done of this, there's also like a bunch of like what you would call director's cut stuff in this book, like concept art, editor notes, just all the good things like that, like, like editor notes on certain issues. What I will tell you is this is a set of 2. If you ever want to try and find the second trade, good luck. I think this second volume goes for like, I think it's like $120. And which like sucks for a trade like this. I just have not bought it because I know comic stores get it on occasion, and I'm just like, I'm gonna get it. Like, I'm gonna find it one day. I'm gonna find it. Plus, there are other Omnis and things on my eBay list before this. So, but yeah, even if you can't, the first volume alone's great. Like, it's continuous, but it's not like necessary. So if you just want to add some versatility to your library, you want to get something different, this is in trade. You can find it anywhere. You can find it on Amazon, find it on eBay. Go get the first volume of Lobo. And that is this week's Read of the Week.
Welcome back from Read of the Week. Before we get into our final segment, we have a brief news, rumor, whatever you want to call it, that actually just came out like, what, 2 days ago? It was
like that? 3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah, it's recent. It's recent. But essentially what happened is Antony Starr, who those of you who don't know that's Homelander, the actor who plays Homelander, was basically James Gunn and Antony Starr both kind of like followed each other on Instagram. And everyone started freaking out because that's what happened before the cast of Superman got cast. So people are like, oh, he's going to be in the DCEU, so like what is he? AU, excuse me, whatever. Who's he going to be? And a lot of people think that he's going to be the Reverse Flash, which has been like a fan favorite casting for years now. Yeah. So, but that, first of all, that would be awesome if he is. Dude. He would be like, if you have seen anything with Homelander in it ever from The Boys, like that is essentially just
you want to talk about like iconic, like Heath Ledger Joker, Robert Downey Iron Man. Dude, Antony Starr as Eobard Thawne would be absurd.
Insane.
It's almost too It's almost like I don't want to believe it because I'm like, that's just too.
It's like Willem Dafoe playing the Joker. Like, you're like, that's never going to happen.
It's just too much of a perfect fan casting. But yeah. So as someone who's watched all 3 seasons of The Boys and cannot wait for the 4th, bro, this would be so good.
It would.
I mean, that dude is the show. Not that like other characters in The Boys aren't great, but like I watch The Boys for Homelander. I don't watch The Boys for everybody else. I watch it for Homelander. I think he's just got that, like, it's funny, me and my dad were talking the other day about actors that have like a look in their eye where it's just like an example my dad gave was Mel Gibson. How like in Patriot Break, he just has like this like intensity, believability just in his eyes, just like naturally. Just like where you're just like, I believe this guy. Like whatever. Anthony Starr's got that look.
Yeah, well, he's got that like dead eyes where it's like
you're soulless.
Yeah,
like you don't have anything behind.
There's nothing going on there, and if it is, it's not good.
It's the, you know what it is? It's like the Ted Bundy in trial thing where everybody's like, when you go back and watch the Ted Bundy clips, now you're like, oh, that dude was insane evil. And so same thing goes for Antony Starr. And if you know anything about Eobard Thawne's Flash, even if they wanted to do Hunter Zolomon, because, okay, so if you don't know, honestly, I'm a Wally West guy over Barry Allen, so I'd be a little bit biased. Hunter Zolomon would be great because literally, I know you don't know all about Hunter Zolomon. Literally what the backstory is of Hunter Zolomon is he was a top flight detective in L.A. It's something in California. So he's got like the look, right? He's tall, he's slender, which Antony Starr's got that look. And what happens is there's an accident that happens. It's a bad call on his part. His wife leaves him for it, and so he gets transferred to Keystone. And that's where he starts in the police department. I won't tell you what happens, but like something happens that leads him to being the Reverse Flash. Hunter Zolomon is just as insane and vile. And I mean, Hunter Zolomon made Wally's wife have a miscarriage.
Oh,
like that,
right.
like that's how, like, I'm gonna ruin your life, Barry.
Yeah.
But it's all based on the very Joker thing of like, but I'm doing all this to make you a better hero. And like, either one, Antony Starr would be great at either one.
Yeah.
So all that being said, on the off chance that he's not Reverse Flash, we both have a pick for who we would like to see him. If it's not Reverse Flash, it's someone in the DC universe. So who do you have?
So mine might be a little odd. I have the Superman villain Parasite.
Oh, okay.
So, you know...
He's got the voice for it.
He's got the voice for it, number one, but, like, because of how, like, I've seen, like, an episode of The Boys, but, like, I've seen a lot of clips from The Boys, and he has that very, like, that two-faced demeanor about him.
Yeah.
And so I think, like, it would almost be kind of cool if, like, him being Parasite is almost like a more slow progression, where it's like he's slowly losing his mind.
Oh, so it's kind of like the big bad Harv idea.
Yeah, where he like eventually becomes the Parasite, and like this, you know, it's almost like he's going crazy, and like he has to like absorb things just to stay alive, but he's trying to keep it a secret. I think Antony Starr could do a really good job at like that dichotomy.
I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so my pick is, we're really Superman heavy these last few weeks. Mine's also a Superman villain. Metallo.
I could see that.
Metallo. Yeah. Tell me,
he's got the look.
Antony Starr has the look of Metallo. He's got the physicality. Also, like, Antony Starr is really good, especially in his performance of Homelander, of like low blows, talking mess, like. And if you know anything about Metallo, like that's what he does.
Yeah.
Like when he's fighting Superman, he's like, "You weak alien!" Like all it takes is this green stone to kill you. Like that's the character of Metallo. And so I think Antony Starr would be great in that. Also, I think that would be a great role because Metallo is one of those villains that could 100% have his own. Like if they give David Cornsweet's Superman a trilogy, he could definitely have his own movie.
Oh, yeah.
And that could be one of those castings where it's like you elevate that Superman movie and David Cornsweet as Superman with giving that star villain. That's,
it could even be like if they want to keep the Lex Luthor around, like he could hire Metallo to
right,
go
exactly.
After,
yeah, exactly. And so you have that pairing, and Antony Starr is really good at that, like you said, like that very like I'm talking like this, but like I'm telling you I'm gonna kill you. Like that kind of, and Metallo does that a lot, especially with the Lex stuff. Like if Lex was getting too like, I hired you, you do it, and he's like, whoa, let's not forget.
I'm a killer robot.
Let's not forget who I am.
Yeah.
I'm a cyborg, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and so for me, I think Metallo would be that if it's not Reverse Flash, I would love to see Metallo. So
that would be a cool casting.
Those are our picks. That's what we were talking about with the Antony Starr rumors. So we are going to go into a brand new segment. We're breaking something out for our 20th episode, and we'll go into it right now.
All right, so welcome to our final segment for the show. We're going to do something a little different here for our 20th episode. We're going to hopefully keep this in rotation. We're kind of trying it out this week to see if we like it, but let us know in the comments if y'all really enjoy what we're about to do. Let us know, and we'll continue doing this. But that'll be the plan as of right now.
We've got one fan, which we appreciate you, whoever you are, that consistently.
Bat12, I think is his name.
Yeah. Whoever consistently comments.
Thank you.
You let us know.
Yeah.
You let us know if you like it or not. But yeah, so essentially the way this is gonna work is, like he said, we're trying it out. But like we said at the beginning of the month, we're gonna keep ending segments on rotation. We think we're gonna keep this in rotation if y'all like it, if we like it. And the way it works is, you get 3 categories. We'll switch them out, keep different things in rotation. But essentially the way it works is it is a competition.
Yes.
So similar to Versus in that, we're both fair guys. We can agree to disagree or agree if somebody's got a better idea or whatever it is. You get 3 categories. This week it is going to be a movie, a comic book or saga, and a video game. We each go back and forth pitching what they would be.
Yes.
We have a discussion on who we would like to see's pitch be done.
Yes.
And whoever wins gets a win, best of 3. Let's do it.
So it's a pitchathon is what we're calling it.
It's a pitchathon.
It's a pitchathon.
So I started on the last 2, the first one. So why don't you start on the closing segment with your movie pitch?
All right. So for my movie, this might seem a little vanilla, but hear me out before you judge. So I want to do a live-action solo Bane movie.
Okay.
But so what I have kind of as the very loose plot is, first of all, this is not one of those where it's not going to be a Venom or a Craven movie where it's like he's an anti-hero and he's like, kind of sympathetic and like he's kind of going for the good side, but not really. Like he's a villain. He's a bad guy. So
he's crushing people's heads.
Yes, he's there will be, because obviously Bane, like, he does kind of have a tragic origin story, so like obviously that's going to be in there.
Right.
But like he's going to be a bad guy. So I'll have it. The opening of the movie will be him whenever he escapes the prison, gets out. He's going to my idea is that he's trying to like build himself up. So like I was thinking. The experiment has already happened to him, and they're keeping him in like
Santa Prisca.
Yeah, but like he's in some sort of high tech like lockdown facility, or like he's not supposed to be able to escape.
Gotcha.
And he does, and he kills everybody in the prison because he can, and he's angry. And so then what I'm thinking is that he goes on like this almost like a rampage, but not quite. So it's, instead of him just like destroying everything, he kind of forms this underground criminal empire and like rules with an iron fist.
Okay.
And you also get to see, because I don't think it's touched on.
So are you just for clarification, are you kind of saying like in Nightfall when he breaks Batman's back and he kind of starts taking over the Gotham he kind of becomes a kingpin?
No, not Gotham City. Like
no. I just mean the idea. Like he kind of becomes a kingpin.
But like it would be like in the Caribbean and South America.
Gotcha. Okay.
And one thing that I would really like to touch on is the mental. Not only one, you get to see his tactical mind that he has. So like him taking over other businesses and like getting involved in the drug trade and like seeing how he's able to take out these other guys. But also I'd like to touch on the how the Venom can affect his mind and how he can go a little crazy. And I want to show like he's a drug addict. Like
he's a drug addict.
I want to show that aspect of Bane.
I like that.
Yeah, because I think it kind of gets overlooked a lot, because obviously we know that the Venom makes him super strong.
The fact that Bane's a junkie.
Yeah, but like I want there to be like a scene where like maybe he can't find it, or like he runs out and he starts freaking out or something like that. And then what the end of the movie would be is that he obviously enjoys the powers that he has, but he hates the fact that he's become this essentially dependent on it. And so then he finds out through his interconnections that Wayne Enterprises was the one that funded the research for his experiments. But the thing is that Bruce Wayne didn't know.
Right, obviously.
And so then at the end of the movie, he would be like, I'm going to Gotham City to confront Bruce Wayne.
That's pretty sweet,
Yeah.
dude. That's pretty sweet.
So,
I like that.
And then the next movie he'll find out that Bruce Wayne's Batman. And then you have the whole,
question: in this story, is Bane in his Bane attire, or is that not yet? Or is he just more so just kind of? Is he in like a wife beater? He's got the prison cut.
I feel like I'm not gonna go as far as like The Dark Knight Returns because he had a very like realistic look. I think there could be a way in the movie that you could work in like his mask and at least like
maybe he looks very tactical.
Yeah, like he's got a jumpsuit of some kind, like with like his chest kind of exposed, and then like I could figure out a way to like get his mask in there.
He does have a film degree, guys.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. Like obviously, I came up with this in like 10 minutes, so I didn't work on all the details.
I like that. Okay.
So what do you got?
So my pitch for all my Jeff John boys out there. My pitch for a movie is titled Green Lantern Corps Sinestro.
Okay.
So, we all know the rumors that we're going to be getting a Green Lantern movie, show, project of some kind at some point.
Right.
One thing that people struggle with Green Lantern in terms of likability is that he's very vanilla. Right? He's very vanilla, which I think fandom...
We're going Hal Jordan, I would assume.
Yes. Okay. I think fandom now would be much more receptive.
Yeah.
But, even so. So what my pitch is you see the movie starts with a young Sinestro. He's just entered the Corps. He's being trained, maybe by Kilowog. Like, maybe this Kilowog is an older Kilowog, and so he's been training the recruits forever.
He's a seasoned veteran.
He's a seasoned Kilowog.
Okay.
Because a lot of times you kind of get the vibe that Kilowog and Sinestro kind of are in the same kind of league, class. Yeah, so in this, Kilowog's like training Sinestro. And so there becomes this... Obviously, Sinestro, up until the point of Hal, was the best Lantern there was. And there becomes this kind of power struggle between Kilowog and Sinestro where Kilowog recognizes that Sinestro's legit. And he's like, oh, this is, And the first act and a half of the movie, I want this, like, I'm thinking, like, grand scale, like, sequel trilogy Star Wars in terms of aesthetic.
Okay.
And they're going out and they're fighting other corps. So they're fighting the Red Lanterns and Atrocitus. They're fighting the Orange Lanterns. They're fighting the Yellow Lanterns. The Yellow Lanterns is the final kind of mission they have by the second act. And Sinestro kind of, not verbally, but you can see he's kind of
allured
by the power of the Yellow Ring. And kind of, he's very interested to see how the effects it had on his fellow Green Lanterns. And he's like, nothing is said. Kilowog notices this.
Okay.
So the way you transition into the third act is Kilowog goes to the Guardians. And he's like, Guardians, I'm telling you right now, on this last mission, XYZ happened. We need to be weary of Sinestro.
Okay.
And the Guardians, because the Guardians are always so nonchalant, are like, Kilowog, he's our best young recruit we have. He's about to become a general. Like he's that's the other thing. Throughout the movie, he's jumping ranks like this.
Right.
Like he's so good that they can't keep him like at a lower level. And Kilowog's like, he's like pleading with them. He's like, please, I've been doing this like forever. Please listen to me. That we need to watch out for this guy. And they're like, no, Kilowog, he's fine. We have the exact line. We have plans for young Sinestro.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of ego coming off from the Guardians. Like, we're the Guardians. We've been around for centuries.
Which, like, what else do you expect?
Like, come on, Kilowog. You just trained. You're a brute, And kind of brush him off a little bit. Obviously, Sinestro succumbs to the yellow power. What happens is he leads a full-scale revolt on Oa. He very, very Order 66.
I was about to say, this sounds like Revenge of the Sith, but for the Green Lantern.
Very, very Order 66 in that it's until it happens, no one knows.
Okay.
They mutilate the Green Lanterns. There's this massive fight. Excuse me. There's this massive fight between Kilowog and Sinestro. Where Sinestro bests...
You are my brother, Sinestro.
Where Sinestro bests him and pulls out a sword out of his ring and has it at Kilowog's throat. And right as he's about to slash, he gets taken out, somebody tackles him, he gets thrown. He can't kill Kilowog. Kilowog escapes. As Kilowog escapes, introduce Abin Sur. Abin Sur starts to try and enter this fight, and Abin Sur's holding his own. He ends up getting stabbed by Sinestro.
And off goes the ring?
And no. Then he gets into his ship. He flees.
Oh, right, because he goes to Earth. I forgot.
Goes to Earth. What happens is Hal Jordan just happens to be on a practice simulation flight in the desert in Nevada and, whatever. He's doing his whole thing. As he crashes, the whole thing happens. He goes there. The way this ends, you get a dual ending. How, he's like bizarre, whatever. He can't figure it out. The ring gets on, the ring gets on him. He starts freaking out. He's like, oh, trying to figure it out. The ring starts talking to him, and obviously Hal's like, oh, this is actually sweet. Like immediately, like, oh, this is so cool. As it's ending, and as you see Hal in the desert of Nevada, you hear in an earpiece on the ground, Jordan, where are you? What's going on? And Hal flies away. Transition to Sinestro with a army of the Yellow Lanterns going up this staircase to these massive doors of the Guardians' chambers. And you see lanterns all over them. They're everywhere. They're bloody. They're killed. As they're walking up, they're, doing like the Japanese military, like making sure they're dead. And he walks in and he just says, we have to talk. Ends. This obviously transitions into either a Green Lantern show or movie.
Right.
That is my pitch.
I like how we both came up with like villain origin stories.
All right, so let's discuss.
Oh man. Okay, here. Before we do that, let me ask. I had 2 questions. I'll see if I can remember both of them. So, okay, I remember both of them. Number 1, what is throughout the movie? What is Kilowog's relationship with Sinestro? Are they friends?
It's very like
frenemies.
It's very kind of like.
Like he's
very no. You know what it's like? It's very Mace Windu Anakin.
Okay.
Like they both respect each other. They know the power each one of them has. There's this kind of tension. Like maybe they get into a screaming match in a battle and they have to be broken up. Yeah. Where Sinestro's questioning his authority, he's challenging his authority. It's very Anakin Mace Windu.
Okay. And then the other question was, so is there going to be a Yellow Lantern in the core that is kind of maybe, tempting Sinestro?
No. See, that's no. It's a bunch of generic Yellow Lanterns. I want my script to be the fact that Sinestro is so greedy for power that no one says a word to him. He just sees this effect this power has, and he's like, oh, I want that. Displaying how truly evil he is. Because if he gets somebody in his ear, then it's kind of influence. Right. Versus if he just sees this display of power he's never seen or touched, and his greed and his lust for power and dominance overcomes him. You know what it's like? It's a very like Thrawn Sinestro.
Okay. Like
very tactic. Like you get to see. It's always alluded to in every Sinestro anything, where they always talk about how great he is, and you get to see how good Sinestro is in terms of his actual fighting, the way his brain works. So
then, when he's fighting as a Green Lantern, would you be able to? Because Yellow Lanterns are fear. Would you be able to see him implementing aspects?
You would get to see. Maybe there's I didn't put it in, but I had this in my head. Maybe there's an interrogation scene and he takes it a little bit too far, and Kilowog's like Sinestro, and he's like,
or maybe he's a little too merciless with his killings on the battlefield. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
He's a very questionable Green Lantern. Not the whole time. Right. Initially, it's as he starts.
He's
to kind
the
of
hot
climb.
young recruit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Man, this is going to be hard. I want to see both of these.
That's a great pick. Those are both great. Okay, so here, I'll go first. The reason I think my pitch would win is I think your pitch would be a much better limited series on HBO. Okay. Here's my only thing. As much as we love Bane, he's not mainstream enough and has enough pop culture behind him that I don't know if enough people would be interested in going to the theater to see this roided out underground, you know what I mean? Whereas a 6-episode limited series where you could cut the fat and really concentrate. Like you were saying, maybe there's just an entire episode where he's being a junkie. Okay. Like, you know what I mean? Whereas mine, it's like, it's not even the fact that Sinestro's great enough to have his own movie. It's you're getting the core, you're getting, you know what also? You get to expand on the DC lore of planets. You get to establish the Lantern Corps. You get to see this grand scale space. That's the other thing, is, you know, something the MCU did really well was always going to different settings. And in this, you would get to see them on Oa. You get to see them on other planets. Them just in space. You get the end with Hal on Earth. All those things.
Okay.
So that would be also because mine sets up a hero's own movie,
right?
Not a transition into a villain taking place in a movie.
I gotcha.
That would be my pitch.
Well, so would your next, like obviously we go into a Green Lantern movie. Would your next movie be Green Lantern versus?
Maybe
Sinestro?
Not. Maybe not yet. Maybe Sinestro's planning something and he doesn't show up till the second or third movie.
Okay.
Maybe Hal's fighting like, you know, he's doing like basic stuff. He's, you know, maybe he, you know, especially if you if you read the Jeff Johns run, like he has run-ins with King Shark and some of like the Suicide Squad. So like you could have him do something a little out of the box. And during that first movie, you're seeing Sinestro gather, because also he's also deal with the Guardians.
Right.
So you see the continued struggle between who's remaining on Oa and the Guardians and the Yellow Lantern Corps and Sinestro.
Okay. Make my argument. I hear what you're saying. I do think that the scope of the, I think the scope of your movie makes much more sense for a big budget blockbuster movie. I do think that I will have to slightly disagree with you here as far as the cultural impact of Bane. I do know that The Dark Knight Rises was not received as the best Batman movie in the trilogy of The Dark Knight Rises, or The Dark Knight. But I do think if like you gave Bane his more comic accurate look, obviously not to a T.
Yeah, there's that, yeah.
But if you give him that, you give him the fact that, he's going to be, like, it's not going to be Bane. He rolls in with the tanks in Gotham City, and then we don't get to see him until the end of the third act. Like, it's going to be Bane doing Bane things, and you get to see the psychological aspect of his roids, so to speak. And, like, I'm thinking, like, the different battles you'll get to see between him and the other drug lords, like in South America and the Caribbean and all of that. I think if you were to advertise it like that, I think that would definitely bring in people.
Okay, so here's I've saved this.
Okay.
Here's my last argument.
Okay.
Everything you just said is true. Not that I wouldn't be foaming at the mouth for that movie.
Right.
He'd be fighting a bunch of nameless drug lords. Sinestro would be fighting the Green Lantern Corps in Kilowog.
That is a good point.
So it's not like you're going into this movie and you're like, oh yeah, he's fighting nameless drug lords in South America. It's like, this is like, no, you're watching Sinestro, because that's the other thing. We've never get to see Sinestro truly fall. You get to see the fall of Sinestro, and you get to see Kilowog get his time to shine, and you get to see, it's like you get to see a core before Hal gets there. You only ever see the core when Hal's there.
Right.
Or Kyle, or John, or Guy, or whoever it is. Like, this is a peak, almost like, think like High Republic era Green Lantern Corps, and then you get to see the fall, and you get this battle of the Yellow and Green Lantern Corps. Yeah. Not Hal Jordan versus Sinestro. The Corps fighting.
Okay. Here, I'll say this. I think that your concept for a movie is better. I do think that the Bane movie would do better financially.
Just because he's a Batman villain?
Yes.
Okay, so fine. So then, but
if we're going off of story, your movie, if we're going off of financial success, and I know you set up the Green Lantern, but if it would set up your new Batman, assuming that Batman doesn't already have a movie in this universe.
Okay, so
I guess so if we're doing this,
who wins?
Well, that's the thing, is I'm trying to figure out, would we go by story or would we go by financial success?
Because you know us, we're fair.
Right.
We're fair. I'll be completely honest. If I was an exec at DC, I'd pick my movie.
Yeah. Well, DC execs don't make the best decisions.
I would. You know what I would do? I would buy your script.
Yeah.
But if I'm greenlighting one first, I'm greenlighting the Sinestro movie.
Well, I think you are correct. I think if you were to go to a real DC one, they'd be like, oh yeah, we're gonna do the Bane movie, and then we'll save that for later.
Right, but since that's not the way it works.
Yes, I know. I'll give you. I think you won this one.
Okay.
I think you won this
all
one.
right.
I'm just saying, if you were to pitch this to DC, I think they would 100%. Okay, we're gonna do the Bane movie in 2 years. Go start working on it right now.
Well, I think also just because it would be a much easier movie to do.
Yes.
But yes, okay, so yeah, dude, I'm fighting Gritty, man. He's got 2 wins in a row. I'm starting to lose it a little bit. We had to come strong. So okay, all right. So second category: comic book or saga.
Okay.
Which y'all are gonna like my pick.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like when I was creating one, I was like, man, these comic books are like really hard to come up with because anything I think of, it's already been done. He's like, oh, don't worry, I've got an idea that I've been working on for like 2 years. So
I've had this idea forever.
Yeah, so I'll start and see if it's any good. So I don't have a title for this, but it's a Batman comic book. So the best way I could describe it is it's a reverse Red Hood. Kind of think like that.
Okay.
So what happens is, and you can have the Bat family in there, but the main character would be Dick Grayson, and he's Robin. He's not Nightwing. Okay. So he's older, but he's still Robin. There might be a little bit of that tension.
It's like 19-year-old Dick.
Yeah, like 17 to 19-year-old Dick Grayson. So like right around graduating high school age. So what happens is Batman goes missing. He went out on a mission one night, and nobody's seen him for a couple of weeks, and Robin has been exhausting himself trying to find Batman, and he can't. He can't find him on the locator. He can't find the Batmobile. He can't, he's gone. And so then Gotham starts to, erupt a little bit into chaos because all the rogues and all the gangs kind of start figuring out hey, Batman's not really in town anymore, and the only person to stop us is Robin. So things kind of start getting a little bit crazy in Gotham City. So eventually, and obviously there'd be a lot of stuff that happens in between this, but essentially what it all leads up to is Robin finally finds Batman, right? Turns out he's been kidnapped by the Joker and has been being tortured for the last
X amount of time.
X amount of time, if you want to make it 2 months, 6 months, however long you want to make it. And a lot of the issues in between him going missing and him finding would be, number one, the hunt for Batman, and number two would be him trying to control Gotham City, and Alfred trying to be his, I know you're not Batman, but you have to try and do your best to defeat, Two-Face and the Penguin and Clayface, or however you want to throw in there. There's a lot of good single issues you can make out of that if you wanted to. Anyway, Batman's been captured by the Joker. He's been tortured, experimented on, whatever. Essentially what happened to Jason Todd. So then what happens is Batman is then released. So kind of think, if you've seen Return of the Joker, kind of think in that same vein, but we're switching the roles.
Okay.
So, and then what happens is Batman has been brainwashed, and he doesn't have to look like the Joker, but he's essentially been brainwashed by the Joker into killing people. So,
is this like a Black Label book?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a Elseworld story.
I gotcha. Okay.
So then you have a Nightwing versus Batman fight. And Batman is it'll be a spectacle, but Batman's obviously going to gain the upper hand at some point.
Right.
And I don't know if you want to make it a knife. It would be more impactful if you make it a gun, but somehow or another, Joker gives Batman a weapon. It's you need to kill him.
Yeah.
And
that's what snaps him?
He snaps out of it. And so then what happens is...
It would have to be a gun then.
Yeah, it'd have to be a gun. So he snaps out of it. You realize he's pointing a gun at Dick Grayson, his son, and he snaps out of it. And he's like, what on earth is going on? And right as he's about to start to come to, Joker stabs him through the chest.
Ooh.
With a sharp cane or something like that.
Yeah.
Batman dies. Dies on the spot. So then Nightwing loses it and kills the Joker.
Unintentionally or intentionally?
Unintentionally. Like he's
just beating him to death.
Beating the crap out of the Joker, and he kills him. So then if you wanted to continue on with that, he then has to deal with the guilt of, like, Batman wouldn't have wanted me to do that.
I acted in emotion.
I acted out of emotion. Because, obviously he's still young, so, like, Batman's learned to control his punches, learned to control his emotions, so he knows, like, okay, I'm getting to the point where it's about to be too far, so I'm going to stop.
Right.
Robin, and, I understand that Dick Grayson, of all the Robins, maybe besides Tim, is usually the most level-headed, but I think that would be one of those things where he goes over the edge, but, like, not to the point where he becomes Red Hood, but, like, he's still trying to be the protector of Gotham and trying to be, maybe he transitions to Nightwing after that, but he has to deal with this, like, guilt that, like, I crossed the line of what Batman wanted me to do, and I didn't respect him in his death.
I like that.
So
that's sweet. Okay.
Anyway, let's go ahead and hear your pitch.
So mine has a very simple title: Batman Beyond: Court of Owls.
Oh, dude.
My pitch.
I really put my heart into that one.
That was great. Yeah. That was great. Wait until you hear mine.
Well, you said Court of Owls. I was like, oh man.
All right. So here's how this works. This is canon. So this is going to be canon.
Okay.
Court of Owls has obviously been dismembered years ago. Years ago by the Bat family, Batman, everybody.
So is this Return of the Joker, but with the Court of Owls, kind of?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Not exactly. So obviously we all know who Derek Powers is. He's the president of Wayne Enterprises. He's also one of the most richest evil men in Gotham.
I wonder where he's going to
align
with.
Derek Powers is recruited by very few surviving court members who have figured out a new formula to make, like, ungodly Talons. Like, not Talons, creepy
so, like,
zombie.
more powerful than we've seen before.
Deathstroke build Talons. Like, they're 6'2", jacked, and are just unreal.
Okay.
Obviously, Derek Powers is interested in this. Derek Powers joins the Court of Owls. And now, all of a sudden, his decisions being made at Wayne Enterprises, not that Bruce Wayne wasn't already weary of them, but they're becoming much more suspicious. And money's going unaccounted for, and all these things. And, in Batman Beyond, Bruce only goes to Wayne Enterprises if he has to.
Right.
And the way it plays out is he goes to see Derek. Derek, is like, oh, whatever, da-da-da-da, it's fine, you don't need to worry, Bruce, you're an old man. Like, you need to be enjoying your old age. Bruce notices, because Bruce is an old man. He notices that there's a little small owl paper holder on Derek's desk. Just something small. And he's immediately like, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. Acts like nothing happened. He leaves, goes back, and he's like, Terry, you need to go to Wayne Enterprises tonight and search his office. Terry goes, doesn't find anything. Another few weeks go by. Barbara Gordon is found pinned to a wall. Barbara Gordon has been killed by the Court of Owls.
Is this when she's the
commissioner?
Commissioner, yeah.
And the media is in a frenzy. The Court of Owls are back. Is this the court? Have they made their return?
Yeah.
Is the long told what do you call it? A conspiracy theory in Gotham returned, or is this some crook looking for attention, publicity?
Yeah.
Whatever. And essentially, obviously, Terry has to go fight the Court of Owls.
Yeah.
They have a very similar maze to what Batman went through. Like, oh, we know what happened to your father, Terry. And he's seeing visions of his dad and all these different things. It all culminates to Terry fighting some Talons, taking the court out. It's just basic Court of Owls Batman stuff. But yeah, that's also it's not an issue. It's not a continued saga. It's just a one-off trade paperback, maybe about 230 pages.
Okay.
And that's it.
I like that idea. I'll say this. I really like your idea. However, I think that would be like a really good DCAU movie style, like in that style movie, like a hour and 20, hour and 30.
So you mean all the movies that get their storylines from comic books?
Yes. But I'm saying, like, that would be a cool comic. I think it would make a better movie, is what I'm saying.
I get that. I mean, obviously, dude, bro, it's Batman Beyond in like a futuristic Court of Owls.
Yeah, that is pretty hard to beat, though.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, as cool as yours is, like, we've seen stuff like it.
Right.
We've seen stuff like it.
I took elements from other stories and kind of
meshed, which I would read the crap out of that.
Yeah.
But just like I feel like my idea is like it hasn't been done. Like we haven't seen, like we've only seen so much of the Court of Owls as it is in 2024.
And Batman Beyond.
And Batman Beyond.
This is true.
Also, we haven't really got to ever see Terry like really psychologically tortured the way Bruce was with villains. So like you would get to see Terry like being psychologically tortured by the court.
And it would be cool too if he was cut off from Bruce Wayne somehow.
Yeah. Hey, the fact that you just started pitching my pitch, I win.
Okay. Well, you know that's what I do. You pitch an idea, I refine it, and then we have a final product. That's how it always works.
Do you really want to make an argument that yours is better? Okay. All right. So
hey, I had a good pitch.
You had a great pitch. So
no, dude. As soon as you said Court of Owls, I was like, oh man,
that's it. It's gonna be a little.
Well, it's also like you had a 2-year head start. I came up with
2-year head start. Something I've been toying around in my brain for a while.
So
okay. So final category.
We'll see if I can get it.
Don't get swept.
I'm trying.
Don't get swept.
I actually feel pretty good about this one.
Okay. All right. Here, why don't you go first? You go first.
Okay. So my video game is actually going to be a Star Wars video game.
Okay.
So it is a Clone Wars video game. You get to play you only play as the clones. There may be a mission here and there where you get to play as a Jedi.
Okay.
But your main guy is a clone.
So like Battlefront 2, but you're not a Imperial general. You're like a clone.
You're a clone. You get to pick your battalion. You'll get to choose from a couple of different battalions. It'll be a gear system, so you can upgrade your gauntlets. You can upgrade your face paint, your breastplate. Like you can add holsters. You can become an ARC trooper. Like there could be skill trees. You also get to choose your class that you start out of. If you want to be in an assault, if you want to be like a heavy trooper, a sniper, whatever it is.
Okay.
And then so it'll be a choose your own story. So what'll happen is depending on what battalion you choose. So
kind of like a Telltale, like where your choices alternate.
But it's not. The gameplay's not going to be like Telltale.
No, I know that. I just mean in terms of like your choices alternate the story you get.
So you get. I was thinking maybe 4 because I think if you did more, it'd kind of.
That'd be a lot.
It'd be too much.
That'd be a lot.
So you get to pick between 4 battalions, maybe like the 501st, the 212th. Maybe you can add.
Coruscant Guard's got to be in there.
Coruscant Guard, Mace Windu, Yoda, 41st, right? Something like that, right? And as you're going along through the story, you get to fight under whatever Jedi. So you get to fight with Obi-Wan, you get to fight with Anakin.
Oh, dude, no, the Wolf Pack.
Or Plo Koon.
Yeah.
You know, something like, obviously narrowing it down would be kind of difficult. But you get to choose whatever battalion you want to be on, and then you get to play with that Jedi, maybe like in one mission or 2.
Gotcha.
But the mission, like the story would culminate in whatever it would culminate in like a really big battle, like some sort of siege.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of maybe think more along the lines of like the Siege of Mandalore or something along those lines. And all the stories would culminate into this big final battle. And then you get to see all the different battalions with all the different Jedi interacting with each other. Let me see, did I have any other notes? Oh, yes. And the last thing I would say is you have Dave Filoni. Have Dave Filoni either write it or help write it. Okay.
Dude, I would pay a unreal amount of money for that game. I love that pitch. Okay. So my pitch is a God of War style Planet Hulk game.
Interesting.
So the way this plays out, if you know the story of Planet Hulk, I'll give you some tidbits in case you want to read it. I know you haven't read it. Essentially, obviously, what happens is Hulk gets sent to this planet. It's a war planet. He's trapped there for an undisclosed amount of time. But so basically, the way that my game plays out, this is God of War. Like, the gameplay is like God of War. The gear system's like God of War. it's very cinematic, like God of War. Like it's very broad scale. The map is massive. It's a planet. So the map is massive. You get to play a Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer makes an appearance.
Okay.
So you get to play a Silver Surfer. It's very like, think like Hulk is the first 4 hours of the game. Hulk's just angry. And so you're playing as just a rageful, angry Hulk. And you're fighting these aliens, and you're fighting in this Coliseum, alien-like war dome. And the villain is just like, I can't remember his name, but the king of this planet is just like, you hate this guy. You hate this guy. I love the idea of doing it in the similar to God of War style, where like when you switch off to Atreus, or kind of like that idea where you switch off to Silver Surfer, then maybe you switch off to the king. You play as the king and as the ruler, and you have to make choices. Not like Telltale, more so just like where it gives you two options and it's like you do this or you do that. Right. It doesn't really affect the story, just your own personal choice.
Right.
And obviously there's free roam after, so you get to free roam as the Hulk. Excuse me, when the game is completed, there would be DLC that would lead up to War Hulk, when he goes back to Earth. So my pitch is just basically like it's not that complicated. It's just your Hulk fighting on a war planet in the style and visual of God of War.
God of War. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think with story you have more potential.
If it makes you feel any better, I'd pick yours too.
Yeah.
I'd pick yours too.
Because I think, because obviously I didn't really come up with a story. If it was kind of a more choose your own story, and if Dave Filoni, who came up with the Clone Wars, and I today watched the Maul takeover of Mandalore, like that arc. I watched that, so I was like, that was already in my head when I came up with this. So I was thinking like, if you could figure out something along those lines, because obviously you could have Dooku and General Grievous somehow make an appearance, and like that kind of make like a massive battle at the very end that could all culminate. And also I was thinking like, how cool would it be if you could have like your own customizable clone trooper?
I mean, I would play your game over mine for sure. So you didn't get swept.
I didn't get swept, but
we're back in the win column, baby. That's what matters.
I mean, you're still in the win column of all of them,
but you were coming in hot the last 2 weeks. So.
I did.
Well, okay, y'all. We hope you enjoyed the 20th episode of Gotham Graffiti. We put shorts out a couple times a week. If you like the more short form content, check those out. Obviously, if you like hanging out with us, we've got the longer form content. Episodes are anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour on the longer ones.
Ish.
We'll be back next week to finish out our DCAU rankings with our 4 through 1. We will start back the cycle with another segment of verses next week. So a lot of fun things coming your way. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell. We'll catch y'all next week.